everybody, to another episode or another, not an episode, what would you call this, Ken? Another JETforce meeting of the operators?
JETforce meeting of the minds.
I love it. Well, listen, without further ado, Ken, why don't you talk to us about what's been going on since the last month that we had our meeting?
Well, I mean, it seems like the industry is changing a lot. I know that I know you MGI users have experimented an awful lot with things like difficult substrates and for uncoated papers. But what I'm starting to see in here in the industry is everybody's starting to focus in on those uncoated papers. So if you have not seen Matt Medbear's video that talks about how to take advantage of those uncoated sheets, whether it be putting foil or varnish down, I hope that you're trying it, because there's going to be more competition in your space soon, and you've got the ability to be there and master it before everybody else gets good at it. So that's what I'm seeing and hearing a lot about. Embellishment is obviously the talk. I'm hearing the show, and I mean, Kevin, you could speak to this maybe more, but the Digital Embellishment Conference was well attended. It was sold out from what I understand, and
Totally sold out.
After a couple of meetings that I heard about this past week, it went well, and there's a lot of excitement and camaraderie, I think, is what I heard more than anything else, is that it's not me versus you. It's about us as a group getting better at digital embellishment and making this segment of the market thrive. So you want to say a few things about it, Kevin? Because I think it'd be interesting to all operators.
First of all, Matt, if I had $1 for anybody who asked me where the hell was Matt Redbear, I wouldn't have to work anymore. So you are definitely coming out next year, buddy. And I have your 2 Gold Leaf Awards that you won here, by the way. So I'll send that to you in the mail. So congratulations, first of all, on winning. I think the big thing, and obviously Adam was there with us. So Adam, I really want to hear your feedback. What was shocking to me is that the FSCA as an organization really started off with the die makers, right? So they were doing traditional foil stamping, traditional screen printing, all that stuff. And oh, Gerardo, welcome, my friend. How are you?
Hello, fine. How are you, everyone?
Good.
Great to see you.
Gerardo, there's a new face I want you to meet. This is Rafael Renaud, the CTO of MGI, and really, he's the guy who kind of invented the jet varnish too. So,
good morning.
Good morning. Nice to meet you.
Nice to virtually meet you too.
Yeah. So listen, the feedback from the FSCA, which was traditional foil stampers with dies and hot foil and all that. During one of the panels, I forgot who was asked, how many of you guys do traditional foil stamping? And you had you had maybe 20% of the hands go up. And then they go, well, how many of you guys are doing digital embellishment? And like, it was just a wave of everybody's hand went up, and everybody looks around and go, wow. It's like digital.
A huge change from the past. Wow.
That was the feedback. It goes, wow, last time we did this conference, last time we had those kinds of questions, it was totally reversed. It was like you had a couple of early adopters in the room that were raising our hands. A lot of people on this call would have qualified as those early adopters, but this time it's totally flipped. And anyways, that's good for us, right? I mean, digital embellishment is in the process of really exploding. There was a lot of talk about uncoated. It's funny you should say that, Ken. There is Nina Paper is now going to try to fight against Fedrigoni, who does the Soho Tintoretto Soft Touch for, remember, that uncoated look and feel. Nina is now releasing a whole lineup of different papers that look uncoated, that feel uncoated, but are not uncoated. So for those of you in North America, look for I'll get more information from Nina, but those papers are going to be very helpful for us.
Yeah, that's a big change, because, Fedrigoni tends to go through GPA, who can be at times difficult to deal with, and high dollar. So that's really pleasant to hear, because now you're talking about opening it up to Kelly Spicers and the bigger paper manufacturers, and being able to get that on a much easier time frame more than anything else. If they're going to stock those papers, that's going to be great for us operators, whether it be for the jobs, being able to suggest it to make our lives easier, but also to be able to get a few more sheets when we need it in a much quicker fashion. So
Right.
that's great that Nina, they talked about that a couple of years ago at the Digital Embellishment Conference, but they seem to be sitting on their hands. So it's really great to hear.
Right. So we heard that. And Adam, maybe you want to talk about what you saw, but the other last little thing I saw is everybody was talking about sustainability. What is recyclable? How do we talk about it with the clients? What do brands want? And that plays into that uncoated paper, Ken, where a lot of brands are pushing away from lamination, wanting to have that uncoated look and feel. Even if it's not sustainable, having that sustainable look to their packaging or to their pieces is something that a lot of people were feeding back to us. So, Adam, why don't you tell us some of the stuff that you learned or you heard at the conference that you think maybe the group would really benefit from?
Yeah, and that's the thing. I've never everybody was always talking uncoated sheets, but it's just not in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
I'm sure I don't push it because it's not readily available yet, but I don't miss it right now. I do a lot of lamination and coated socks, and I really don't get the request for uncoated often.
Right.
But yeah, at the conference they were talking quite a bit about sustainability, and I think there's still some things they've got to figure out and questions to be asked and stuff like that. But yeah, the conference in a whole was amazing. I've been to these bigger conferences, but this conference, you walk into a room and you can kind of you can look around the room and be like, oh, this is manageable, and you can really intimately join pretty much everybody you want to join in one day, and everyone was so close and talking about this exact same things. And you got, what was it, 15, 20 tables. You could visit all the tables, sit with them for as long as you wanted to. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
Adam, were you able to, with all of the experience and all of the in the trenches experimentation you've done, was there a lot of I've been there and done that, and you were able to be a little bit smug, or did you feel you really learned a lot of new things when you were walking around?
A little bit of both. Some of it I did learn quite some new things. I don't know if it's out and about yet or not, but yeah, you learn all kinds of stuff as you walk through. I think I got 2 new vendors while I was there. Learned some things I might be doing incorrectly or differently than others, and but yeah, it was very helpful.
Very cool. Very cool. It was good to see you in person, Adam, for the first time, and really blown away by your samples. How about you, Jorah? What's going on your side of the world since we last met? What's going on
Well,
with varnish?
we had a ton of work. Actually, February and March and April are our biggest months. But I had a new client coming in with Ferrigoni papers, with some wine labels. Now this is a label that stands cold. It doesn't get affected by water.
Right.
So it seemed to me that it would work better on jet varnish, and we did a 2-run label. We did a thermography run.
Yeah.
We burned about 3 pages.
Yeah.
And on the jet varnish, it did another different thing. This is the first sample. It didn't look too good because it's the CMYK only. Actually, I tried to fight between my family. I get around and deliver the work, and they destroy the leftovers. So this is
That's the only one left.
yeah. But I try to. This is a CMYK. We tried to use the new Versant 280, the one with 11 toners,
Yeah.
and we did this one with gold toner.
Wow.
It's very subtle, but the varnish there on the roots, it's
Yeah.
gold, and it's very subtle. But I did try to get foil on the sheet, and something very weird happened.
Oh,
The
it's stuck to the gold.
no. Actually, it is gold foil, but the label repelled the varnish,
Interesting.
like a pattern, like something of a looks like a cell. So
Wow.
I don't know if anyone has any experience with this kind of materials, and
Well, it's definitely a surface tension issue. I mean, those holes are pretty, when they're round like that, that's a droplet that's trying to run away. So what's
yeah,
the surface of that sheet like? How would you describe it?
it's like it feels uncoated, but it's a special coat that they use to protect the paper from the cold of the wine label. So I haven't used this material before.
You have any
So
dime
it
pins?
became like a challenge, and ultimately we used it for varnish only. When
Right.
we tried to stamp it, it became like this. This is like I believe the one that became clear.
Yeah.
I almost turned off the curing to almost zero.
Yeah, that makes sense because it's going to run. I mean, what they're trying to do is make it waterproof. And if it's
Yeah.
waterproof, it could very well be polymer proof.
Yeah.
Yes.
So unless you've got a
Oh.
Corona unit to change that tension, yeah, I mean, I think that obviously keep playing with it, right? I mean, temperature, speed, you could overdose it, right? You could go as high as you could and maybe get it to stay. But when you introduce that heat when it comes to foiling, you're in
Yeah,
an
it
interesting
never
spot to
happened
be
to
in.
me. It never happened to be in any kind of material, in plastics, in like in laminated paper, anything else went fine. But in this, that it has a new coat for for wine production, and you need the specification is the paper is called Ispira, and the specification tells me that the paper is coated for cold, extreme cold, and water environments. So the
I would
label
also
stays
suggest you
extreme.
test the finished product in a couple of environments too, because it might leave the shop and look great, and you're going to hear about it in a couple of weeks. So please torture it after you do it, because I hate for you to look bad.
I have two
Okay.
questions. First off, I'm sure Fed, maybe you want to talk about this, but did you get any of that issue with just the varnish or only when you put the foil down?
Actually, this one has varnish. It's very. This one has the gold toner,
Yeah.
but the varnish did stick well to the.
And you didn't get any of those
But
holes on just the varnish, only when the foil was activated.
Only when the foil was applied.
Now, MGI foils now can be run at a much lower temperature range, so that's something to consider, is being able to not overheat it and get that foil down.
Let me,
if it's only foil, it is not only a matter of surface tension.
This one has the holes too. Let me see if I can. Yeah.
Okay, the varnish got the holes too. Yeah.
Did you try Corona treatment prior to?
We don't have a Corona. And actually, this is one of the questions that I've been trying to. We have a 3DS, one of the first 3DSs, but no Corona. And I mean, is this the case for a Corona use?
It might be.
Can be, yeah.
And do you have dine pins to check and see if you can see what the dine level of that surface is?
No, but I still got sheets. I maybe try to get one.
That's what I would do. It looks like it almost seems like the dine's too high on it. If it's spreading like that, or maybe it's either too high or too low, but that's what it looks like, is the dine level's not right.
That pinholing is pretty common on uncooperative substrates, but let's ask one of the substrate experts. Matt, I'm sure you've got some insight. You run everything difficult.
Yeah, the first, I mean, everybody's pretty much covered the topics that I thought I was going to bring up, but everyone got to it before. You know, I'm trying not to talk because it's not my meeting. I think you're right with the need for a corona treatment. It would really help that. I do not have that luxury as well, so I've had to try and figure out every other workaround. And the only type of substrate like this that I have used is for labels, and only with varnish. And I've had nothing but success. So I can't really speak to what your flaw is, other than it's just substrate specific. and that the only thing that really might fix it is a corona treatment of some sort, whether offline or online. A lot of paper suppliers, we have a paper supplier here that has an offline corona treatment. We can hire them, we can send them a pallet of paper, they can treat it, ship it back over here that same day, and then we can run the job with the paper that is corona treated. So I don't know if you have any kind of an option like that where someone else can treat it for you the same day. I mean, schedule it early in the morning, and don't wait, because by the next day it may be a worthless treatment.
Yeah.
The other thing I could add quickly is to go ahead and try and get as much of the toner down as you can, right? 130, 140%, like all CMYNK that you can get onto that sheet. If the toner sticks and stays put, then you can put your varnish down, and then maybe you'll have a good surface to be able to apply the foil as well. And that may be a big help to you. So
that's
another was a two-pass. Actually, it was CMYK, then the gold toner and the white toner on the label.
Oh,
so
okay.
it had a very good passes of toner. But yeah, the thing is, we don't have a Corona. We don't have an option to offsite a Corona treatment. But maybe this is the perfect excuse to get one. And this label was a wedding gift. The person was giving a wedding gift to a couple that was marrying, and the couple had a winery. So the run was about 150 labels. So it was a very small run. It's not something we do every day. But he wanted to do something very special to them, and I said, well, ship it over to me, and we'll make it work. We wanted the gold foil in the first run, but didn't quite get it because of the material. And actually, I want to go to Ferrigoni and tell them, well, what are your options regarding this event, this phenomenon?
Yeah,
it's always good to drag those vendors in and make them a little responsible for it too. Let them see what they can do to give you a hand. It's great to include them, especially when you're having an issue like this.
Yeah, I think one of the first things I would have attempted was just a different substrate. Maybe find one with the similar requirements, cold, hot, application for different environments, works great in a refrigerator and works great in an oven. There's a lot of different manufacturers for the same products out there. Maybe you need a different finish on a stock. Maybe it needs to be glossy instead of matte, or vice versa. Something like that may help your situation as well.
Yeah, that's a great point, Matt. A lot of times, if I'm having issues with some substrate, I'll just grab a blank white piece of paper that I know has a perfect dime level, and I'll run the exact same file in white page mode. And if it comes out looking perfect, I immediately know that it's the substrate I'm dealing with that I have to figure out a solution around.
Yeah, and the way that label looks, I think GMX also has some adhesive vinyls that I've had some decent luck with. So you could get that waterproof type finish from an adhesive poly or an adhesive vinyl, and maybe be able to produce it a little bit easier too. So might want to play with some of those when you get time to.
Yeah, they wanted a classic look, label, and feel. So that was the issue. But yeah, we knew we would have some problems the moment that these sheets caught fire on the thermographer. Like 3 or 4 sheets just immediately caught fire on a medium temperature because of the coating. Yeah. So when you're using traditional methods, this stock is going to give us a very few adventures on JETvarnish too, and it did. Actually, it did.
Well, you also have another thermographer. I use the JETvarnish as a thermographer, so maybe not this particular substrate, but you get enough varnish on toner. You have a second thermographer in your shop with a much lower heat issue, so don't forget about that as well.
Yeah, definitely lower gas bill for sure.
Actually, we have that's actually something that amazes me. Some printers are still using gas thermographers. From the 80s, we've been using quartz-based electrical thermographers, not gas. It's actually very dangerous to use gas.
It is. It's a very dangerous process.
Volatile components and chemicals. it's very, very harmful and very dangerous.
They don't
So
make them anymore.
I still know some people that use Berco type thermographers,
Yeah,
and it's quite dangerous actually to use them.
we've come a long way.
Yeah.
Adam, let's hear about some of your successes or challenges in the past month. I hear you may have a few things you can show us, and we'd love to hear about what you've learned.
Yeah, I wish I could say I've learned this, but my jobs are just so consistent. Like it's either 10 mil laminate or soft touch laminate,
Yeah.
and it's just how we can try
No,
to
but-
make something look different that's, you know, has those finishes, you know.
Well, we want to hear about
That's a sign of a great operator because you've marketed your machine to be in a perfect sweet spot to get the work you want. So that's because of you, my friend. You're doing great.
But you invented a new technique we wanted to hear about.
Well, so this is a job I ran this morning, which is what it's supposed to look like.
Right.
But you see if I can, you got the clear hollow and the spot varnish.
Yeah.
Can you see the varnish?
Yeah, I could see it. Yeah.
Looks great.
So I usually, so I had red on, and I usually run the first sheet with whatever I have on so I can find my placement, so I can use a smaller roll so I get the exact placement. So I had red on. I ran the red sheet, or I ran the same sheet with the red foil, put red on, and then I went back to line up my clear hollow, and I put clear hollow over red.
Holy shit, that looks amazing.
That's a virtual rainbow there.
Whoa.
So then I had the idea. I was like, well, maybe I could make any color foil hologram.
That is
So put-
awesome idea, man. That is a phenomenal idea, Adam. It's coming across. I don't know if you guys see this. It looks really good on video, and usually it's hard to tell what's
It's
going on.
Try it with pearl ice too. That cracked ice finish over the top will give that same effect. That's amazing. I didn't even think of that.
When it,
I've
when
never
it came
seen
out,
that.
I was like,
This is awesome.
I might have found something. Brought a few more here.
As beautiful as invented.
Yeah.
Well done.
Oh, you did it there too?
No, that's just purple.
Okay. So where are you getting your purple from, by the way? Is this the Liberty purple or is this the Infinity purple?
So there's two purples that I know of, and they're the only two purples that I know of. If anybody
Right.
has any other purples, I'm listening. Crown has a purple.
Yeah.
And I just ordered it. It was, so you probably can't see it, but it changes its sheen for some reason, which I call it an error. You know.
Yeah.
They said I got another 30,000 feet coming, so they said they fixed that. So we'll see. But so that's Crown, and then Liberty has a perfect purple.
Yeah.
But I've noticed if you're not careful, when you're doing double-sided work with Liberty foils, sometimes that when the foil sits on top of foil, it'll pick off.
Interesting.
So you can't let your stacks stack high whatsoever.
And you don't get that with the Crown?
I don't.
I could eliminate some of that if I change my pressure on the second side, because obviously those microns of varnish and foil create more pressure when you do the second side. So sometimes you're right though. I mean, the heat will sometimes pull the pigment right off the foil, so there's nothing you can do. But changing that foil roll pressure or even heat, sometimes you get lucky. But I hate those unpredictable surprises that you get when you're using some people's foil.
Yeah.
But, you're color limited, I understand.
Yeah. So Liberty is really the only one that I've kind of ran into that. But man, I'll tell you, Liberty's willing to work with you, and they say if you're having a problem, we'll do a different formula, and we're going to send you samples. So I'm sure they're going to figure it out. They've been really good about making custom colors and getting my feedback on what works and what doesn't. So
Do they have
I'll get-
minimums for you for the custom colors?
Liberty does not
Really?
have
That's really great.
have
That's
minimums.
awesome.
But
Because
everyone
sometimes
else
Crown will want
does.
you to buy $1,000 before they'll make a color special with a jet varnish.
It's 30,000 feet is the normal minimum from what I found, which, fortunately, it's not a problem because if I say, hey, I need a custom color, I'm going to use 30,000 feet of.
Right. Right.
Um, And then that means, hey, Adam already ordered this, and now this company makes it, so you can go order it now too.
We should share that. We should share like the custom colors that are becoming available with each other.
Yeah.
So everybody can take advantage. And really quick, I really love that holographic clear you're using, Adam. Can you share whose clear you're using and what was it? Pillars of Light?
Yeah, that is Crown.
Oh shoot, I love that.
That's
I
Crown.
love that piece.
They're stocking clear for you?
I have to order 30,000 feet at a time,
Okay.
but
That's
it
not in
works.
stock foil. That's a special order.
It is,
Yeah.
but if you call them after I order it, they always have another 10, 15,000 feet.
Please put the item number on the forum. Let me know if I can order some.
Let me see that piece again. Was that
pretty good?
was that
752.
was that their sample piece or is that your sample piece that you ran? Is that your job?
Yeah,
Oh, dude, you're doing stuff for Nike? That's
it's
so
it's
cool.
it's the college team. I forget who this is, but
Probably
this is USC.
UFC. Dude, listen, I gotta tell you, Adam came and he just dumped his samples on my table, and like you could hear everybody's jaws just hit the table. Just like everybody was like, "Wow, this is some of the cool, innovative design." And you know what? I would love to have the designer who's designing all this for the machine.
We've got a guy that knows what he's doing.
All right, so that can I guess what you did?
Yeah.
You did red foil, then you over laminated with matte, and then you did a gold pass on top of the matte lamination, and then a varnish pass. Is that
That's
all right?
it.
Oh, damn, I knew it. That looks so cool.
Oh, how thick is that?
Thick enough.
Yeah. Almost too thick according to spec, I would think, but
How did you run that?
Kevin, how did I make it that thick?
Did you sandwich them
of course.
afterward?
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to sandwich them afterwards. That is an amazing piece. That's bananas, Adam.
Yeah,
You know
it's
what? I'm scared.
probably
He's going to go for the
50.
Gold Leaf Awards next year. He's going to win every category with the stuff that he's putting together. Oh, that's cool.
just a coaster.
Yeah.
It's got a texture on there, but you can't really see it.
All right. Wow.
But come to the SIP, that's Mississippi. Come to the SIP.
Any special challenges producing that one?
No, just that was simple. Soft touch laminate on an 18-point C2S. And
Oh.
solid
Yeah.
soft touch back. Those are, I mean, they probably struggled more at the eye cut than I did at the jet varnish on that.
Yeah.
But another one of the clear hollows.
Wow. That's just clear hollow onto the print?
This is laminated 10 mil, 10 mil.
Yeah, but there's no foil under that clear hollow, right?
No,
Wow. That looks
that's
so good, dude.
that's just clear hollow with spot varnish.
Wow.
Looks awesome. Love it.
Well,
Yeah.
you use it as a security feature?
I have on a job before, but we haven't dove into that a whole lot.
Looks great.
Yeah, you're doing some amazing stuff. That's thanks for sharing. Thanks for bringing it.
How about Matt? What have you been up to? What have you been running? Let's hear what the Red Bear's been doing.
We've actually been running a lot of very boring corporate stuff and a lot of very boring fundraiser stuff. It's nothing exciting to me. It's exciting to our clientele.
Yeah.
when they get it, of course, they're just blown away by it. But to me, all of us were just like, "Ugh, this is ugly. This is just ugly." But
Yes.
they absolutely love it. So and of course, our major clientele here are all corporate.
Right.
It's Ryder and DHL and
Yeah.
uh, US, just huge companies, huge corporations, and they're not wanting a lot of flash right now. They just want some foil and some varnish. So anymore, I just don't even take videos of what we do because it's pretty boring, quite honestly. But I want to backtrack to something that we talked about earlier, and with the sheet that we're having trouble with the pinholing. And I'd have to say that sitting over there on my to-do table are 3 jobs, but they're all in the testing phase. And they'll set up a job and run it on different stocks because they want to try it on different stocks. They want to try different foils with the different stocks. So then I have to mix and match everything, and then they may have additional changes to the mask while I'm running the job, while the customer is proofing it. Almost everything we do is substrate dependent. It's all experimental, whether it's going to work or whether it's not going to work, whether the foil lays down or not, because we don't have a corona treatment unit. So we have a lot of limitations as far as what we do. But we do have the advantage of having the 3DS, which uses that thicker varnish, which allows me to do multiple passes on the same job. It allows me to build up really thick, heavy varnish that almost makes it look like uh, extruded or molded metal. And that's a very interesting effect that some of my clients use for these real estate offerings, for these multi-million-dollar condominiums down on the beach. They do what's called an offering memorandum. It's usually a book, 8 by 10 or 8.5 by 11 standard US sheet size paper. And they're perfect bound, and then they're limited run, but they always want the covers embellished on some level, whether it's varnish or varnish and foil. So what that does, it does elevate their look, but they also want it to be overdone. They want it to look like lots of varnish with lots of passes, lots of density on that foil. So with the 3DS, we're able to run the multiple passes, build up that varnish really high with this thick varnish that it uses, and give them the look that they want. Again, it's just like foil on a logo or just a varnish on the neutral space in the background with a pattern that matches the motif of what they're doing, whether it's Art Deco or modern or whatever. So we do a lot of those offering memorandums that way, and it seems to work out really well with this machine. So that's the majority of what we've been doing over here, just really, pedestrian stuff, basically.
Making money.
Yeah, paying the bills, man. You
Yeah,
gotta
it
pay those
does.
bills. Yeah,
I
beautiful.
guess it means you have very small run. No?
They are all small runs. They are very specialized runs. But some of the fundraisers, Make-A-Wish Foundation, and that we do a lot of stuff for the Cox Science Center here in Fort Lauderdale, the Miami Ballet. So we have some high-profile clients, as well as the Maltz Jupiter Theater, which used to be the Burt Reynolds Theater up in Jupiter, Florida. We do a lot of work for them too. So some of those runs can be pretty hefty. It depends on what stage in their fundraising they're at. They'll put out a very general letter. The response they get from that, they'll put out another letter, it's smaller. The response they get from that, they put out another letter, it's smaller. And each time it gets a little more embellished, a little more flashy. It's the same theme, but it gets to be a little more eloquent with each subsequent mailing. They'll spend a little more money on it. So it's an interesting technique that they use.
Wow.
Yeah, Matt makes a really good point. Don't forget too, with those nonprofits, they know who their big donors are. So to talk them into encouraging the top 10% of their donor list to get something that's highly embellished. Casinos love to do that as well, but you don't think they have money until you start talking about the big donors, and then it closes the deal, and sometimes can increase their response by almost 20%. So you make a great point. Just it's one thing to remember.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you, Matt, for that. And Rafael, is there anything that you want to share with the team? I know that you've been, this is your first meeting, but we're a very open family of friends here. Everything is absolutely open. If there's any questions for us or anything from the community, first of all, we want to welcome you and thank you for joining us. It means a lot to everybody on this call that MGI would join the call and talk to the operators. But is there anything that you want to say to us or ask us?
Well, I have learned what I already know. My customer use the machine better than I do, which sounds good for me. What I mean by that is you adopt the technology and you get out the best out of it. And well, it's good to me to hear the variation you made, the various paths you made. So we are moving to machine that will do 2 operation in one pass, varnish and foil, and I think those discussion I am hearing right now goes in the good direction, because it seems that you need more efficiency, and so you will need to have even if you do 2 times or 3 times two different option in one set, it would be helpful to you. So first, thank you to welcome me. Thank you not to take me for Santa Claus and just request everything I think you would love to have or you are dreaming of. I would be happy to hear about your dream and your problem. For sure, it would be helpful also for us to think about our next generation of equipment and try to see a little bit more far away. But first, thank you to welcome me in your little family. I hope we'll have more time to come and stick around sometime and see what's going on. I appreciate the value of your samples. I mean, I see that you all use it on a high level. Please just do as if I am not here. I will try to help when I can, for sure. I will listen carefully about what you need to make your life easier. And if you have some things that you want to share, don't hesitate. We'll have other occasion to do it in the future.
Well, thank you, Rafael, for joining us. And I think you've just given us an idea for our next meeting next month, which is come to the group with a wish list. That's awesome. I mean, how many times does a manufacturer actually ask, what can we do to help you, or what would you like to see in a new machine? That's a sign of a great organization, and I appreciate you bringing that up. So
I agree.
Looks like Adam's got on a mission here.
I think I'll ask a question while I've got some cows here on the wall.
We're losing Adam. We're losing Adam, but while we wait for Adam to come back, why don't Matt, you have a session on the 26th. Do you want to talk to us really briefly about the session that you're setting up?
Yeah, in 3 days, I posted an invitation yesterday, and if you know on LinkedIn. So if anybody knows anybody who wants to, it's just an open discussion on designing for embellishments, specifically, a machine like the one behind me. Not particularly tips and tricks, but definitely what Adam contributed today would be perfect for the type of meeting that we're having. It's the designers meetup. This is the operators meetup, and now we're doing the designers meetup. So it's focused on design rather than the workings of the machine, the technical modifications and workarounds and that type of thing. So more of the file building, more of the design techniques, Photoshop techniques, how to, work with PDF layers, all that kind of stuff. So
invite your clients, invite all of your clients who you think need to learn how to design better. It's open. So we've decided with Matt to keep the designer meetings open. Have them come. It's an open Zoom link. Anybody can join, and we're just going to talk about best practices for designers.
Yeah, that's great.
Adam, I feel like you wanted to show us something. You took us to another room.
So yeah, I can come that way.
Oh, there she is.
Does anybody know? So my when I feed a 10 mil, I have to turn my double feed sensor off. Is there a way to adjust that? Anybody familiar with this feeding? Any way to adjust the double feed
So the
I can run
question
10 mil and not turn it off?
So the question is, when you're running 10 mil sheets, your ultrasonic double sheet detection center sets off. You have
Yes.
to turn it off to run it, but you wish you could not have to turn it off. Is that correct?
Correct.
I believe the receiver has a sensitivity control. I believe there's a pot on the, man, I think it's on the top, not on the bottom. You should be able to actually see it, and you should be able to find a range where you can run with that sensitivity control. I assume you would have looked at them. You're pretty sharp. Is there not one on your machine?
There may be. I have not.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, because it's going to use a charge, and that 10 mil makes the charge high no matter what. So if you can back it down, that's going to help.
Perfect. Yeah.
Anybody else run into this?
I've seen somebody mess with it.
Matt, Gerardo, Rafael, anybody run into? No.
Like this, I don't have the answer. If I find an answer, I will transfer to you, Kevin, and you will
For sure.
transfer. No
Very
problem.
cool. We'll post
it might be not a problem of thickness, but if your substrate has got a little bit of air between the lamination and the substrate by itself, then it's kind of a real double feed, and you cannot avoid it. So there is a setting on the sensor. I don't know how to set it up like this. I will try to search for it.
All right, let me know and I'll post it. You know what? Once you post that into the forum, Adam, and then whoever has answers, we'll bring whatever answers we could find to you in the forum on the JETforce. All right.
Thank you, everybody. As always, you guys are the stars. You bring the content, and it was fantastic to talk to you again. I'm sad that it's going to be another month before we talk again, but I know you're going to come to the table with some awesome things that are going to help the operators. So that's why this is here, and that's why we're here. So thank you. Really, really great to see you all.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks to all of you.
And I posted in the chat
The chat.
the link to the meeting. That's the direct Zoom link. So that's a link that if you copy and paste it, you can give it to anybody and then hop on the meeting.
Awesome.
All right, guys.